Those items. No. Okay, so,
I can text
well, let's-
you if you want me to see, but I just feel like,
let's not,
Okay.
let's assume that
okay,
he's real.
and but you might, yes.
Okay, let's kick this off and then we'll sort out that whole situation. So, tonight's town of Oregon meeting will come to order, and Jennifer, you could do the roll call, please.
Carl Walter,
Here.
Lori Fitzgerald. Here. Arlen Kai,
Here.
and Steve Jordan is absent.
Okay, so our situation then tonight is, Steve is not available. What we'll do is we will not be voting on the vacancy filling at all tonight. So we'll push that to, well, we'll need to schedule, we'll need to schedule, I think you is on the agenda to schedule during the next board meeting based on Steve's availability. So there won't be anything in the next, what is that, is week or so. We had another candidate, the third candidate appeared on Monday night. And we're gonna run this the same way as we did on Monday night. And the, you probably don't have the packets necessarily for the meeting, but let me just give you a rough idea. The vacancies are, how to fill vacancies is spelled out in a couple places, in statutes. What creates a vacancy, what are the different types of vacancies, what are the powers of the people who are on the board, and then also the town clerk as far as voting on a vacancy, that stuff's in statutes. What's not in statutes is procedure for how to actually do it. So we have an ordinance, and then we also have a procedure, the town does, for how to essentially advertise for candidates, collect information from candidates, allow candidates to present themselves and any information that you think is important to the board. And then there's also step-by-step on how the actual voting is handled. So we will not be doing that tonight, but we will be doing presentations or discussions with both of you. You'll each have 5 minutes to present, as I said, yourselves and whatever information that you want to. We've got your application, the questions and the answers that are in the application, and also that second round of questions. We've got that. We don't need to go over that, so we'll individually and then collectively do it at whatever date we set next for that. So there is something in the procedure, so 5 minutes, and then also what we'll do is after each of your 5-minute presentations, you'll have the ability to ask questions of the board if you wish. You don't have to, but if you do wish to, there's a 10-minute cap on that. Which it seems like a long time, but it can, 5 minutes sometimes seems like a long time too, but it could go by quickly. So keep that in mind when you're presenting.
And you have a little cue, don't you? You're gonna use a cue to time.
I'll use my phone.
Yeah. Okay.
So now, we'll do this in random order. Jennifer, a couple slips, and then I think Steve Root might be the only one who's authorized to pull a name from a hat, if you don't mind, Steve.
No, that's fine.
And this is just to determine the order.
I have like an empty.
Yeah.
Excessive, but. You're gonna get some, don't hurt yourself when you take them.
Garbage can, isn't it?
It's a flow.
It's a planter. Did you get it? It doesn't stick to you? Yeah, all right. Hey,
Dave's first. Okay.
yeah,
Steve, I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So when it goes off, you'll have like just a little bit more to wrap up. If you're not already done.
You won't read that.
So it's totally up to you. And let me know when you're ready.
Hustle all day.
All set?
Hello, my name is David Hageman, and I'm applying for the open seat on the Oregon Town Board. I'd like to tell you a little about myself and why I would like to serve on the town board. I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Oregon. I was raised and worked on my parents' farm in the township. After getting married, I lived in the subdivision in the township. Most recently, my wife and I built our forever home on a family farm in the township. I have a degree from MATC in computer programming. A retired computer programmer, project manager after working 32 years for American Family Insurance. Having lived in the township my entire life, I have a strong attachment to the township. I'd like to see the township continue to thrive, and I'd like to help make this happen. My late father served on this town board as a supervisor during my youth. I remember him and my mom discussing township business at the kitchen table during meals, which is probably where my interest in local government started. Since that time, I've kept an ear to the township business. I've served on our planning commission for the past 15+ years. This has allowed me to meet many residents of our township, learn about some of the issues and concerns that they have. I'd like to take the next step and serve on our current board to get more involved with our great township. I feel, having lived in both the agricultural community and the rural subdevelopment community of our township, gives me a somewhat unique perspective of our township, which I feel would be an asset for the town board. Thank you for your time.
Do you have any questions for us, Dave?
Not really. I mean, I understand what your position is, and it entails, meetings outside of the normal stuff. So, I know most everybody on the board, so
Okay,
I have no pressing questions or anything.
okay, I know, you've been around.
Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Rob, whenever you're ready. No, go ahead.
Yeah, this is great contrast and opposites for you, because I am a 4-year resident of the town. I am married to my wife, Buffy, who is a lifelong resident of the village and the town. So when I'm driving around, I say, maybe I think I know what road that is. And she says, so-and-so lived in this house and their neighbor used to be that person and their dog was this. And I remember the time we went bike riding together. So it's a real interesting behind the scenes look into everything that goes on here through my wife's eyes. So I moved here when we got married, just before we got married, so about 4 years in the township, or in the town. And I've been in the Dane County area for about 7 years. I am Director of Communications and Public Affairs for Destination Madison. It's the travel and tourism entity for Dane County. And the reason I am here this evening is really literally actually because of you. I recently felt like I wanted to become more involved and engaged and understand my community. Now I've been here for a while, so I joined the virtual town hall last month, or town meeting. And I heard a number of supervisors say that it would be great at some point to get newer and younger people involved with the board. And I thought, I can't help you with younger, but I'm definitely newer and have a wealth of experience that I could bring to the board. So that experience started really with my first job. I was the editor for the Clinton newspaper in Clinton, Wisconsin, a village of about 1,400 people. Did that right out of college for a few years, and it dealt with a lot of the same issues that we deal with here, that contrast between rural and neighborhoods, the fact that there are a lot of needs, not a lot of budget, or not a lot of ways to increase budget. And it was a really great foundation for me in my career. I continue to be involved with government in many different ways, as a journalist, as a advisor and a consultant. I've probably been to, I want to say, 300-400 different council, committee, commission meetings through the years. And so what I really loved about that background in my various jobs, which I laid out a little bit in more detail in my responses, is it gave me the opportunity to really dive into a lot of diverse issues. I'm, as a result, become very adept at reading between the lines and through the lines of some very dense statutes and policies and procedures, and see and have been able to develop ideas of where policies can go for different entities and organizations I've been involved with. So I really like kind of getting my hands into those details and then seeing how we can best apply that to whatever I'm involved with, which brings me back to the community. I feel I found a real home, my first ever home, literally. I've only lived in apartments my whole life, so I moved here. I found my home here in the town of Oregon. I think I have a wealth of experience in that government realm, particularly that nitty-gritty part of working in government. I'm a communicator and a connector. My job that I have right now has me very involved with state government, county government, so I know a lot of the players on the departmental level, on the elected official level, which I think gives me some insight into some of the needs and opportunities that exist. And I think what I really, that drawing that all together with the feeling like I have a real home here and that experience, I think there's a good opportunity to preserve what you have here in the town for the future. And that's what I would like to be involved with. It's really leaving a legacy for tomorrow, so that, you know, people in the future can experience what I've experienced here, that friendliness, that openness, that ability to shape your home life the way that you want to, but still do it in a way that is connected to the community at large. I understand the challenges and the often mundane work that goes into board and committees, you know, digging into details of potholes and cracked pavements, and, you know, where does money come to fix that? And those are things that I find intriguing, and I would love to join you in addressing those issues. So kind of a overall overarching approach to why I'm here. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the board?
A couple. This is an interesting position for you because you get to choose who you work with versus having just, you know, an elected person join who is already in place. What are you looking for an additional supervisor? What skills do you think would be an additional help to what you all bring as individuals to the town board?
I think you touched on it a little bit. I think there is a lot of mundane work to this. A lot of meeting attendance and reading material that has to be, you know, thoroughly reviewed. So somebody who is okay with that, but then also brings sort of a wide range of an open perspective, let's put it that way, to things that might be going on in the town, because it is a pretty diverse town as far as not just where people live, but things that people do for their livings or for how they spend their family time or alone time or whatever it is. And there's a balance there to attempt to do, but there's also a challenge in that it's not always easy to make everybody happy with whatever the decisions are. So there is an element to it. Nobody up here is a dictator. You know, it's not my opinion that always carries the day, you know, so we need to work together as a team. Or at least, I mean, work together as a team, but understand that sometimes you will not necessarily get the voting result that you were either hoping for or expecting. That's my take on it. Any other?
I guess for me, the one thing I learned is you have to just be yourself and go with what you think is the right answer, and not be afraid to disagree sometimes with each other, but also be able to just move on and go to the next issue. And you know, sometimes someone you disagree with on the previous issue ends up being an ally next time, and you have to just roll with that and take it in stride and be professional about it. So is that what I would look for?
Anything to add?
Different points of view.
Mhm.
Not the same. Don't want to be lockstep. listen to the constituents. Do your best.
Oh, and common sense.
What?
That's what I quoted Sharon Christensen. Heard more than one person say, when I was overwhelmed and I'm like the potholes and the civil engineering stuff. Well, you just need common sense. And I've said that before.
Mhm.
And then that's, of course, you're assuming you have it, but I think that helped me. That helped me kind of get over this being, oh my gosh, how can I get through this ordinance and figure out what we're supposed to be voting on tonight? That kind of thing. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Just a couple more. I know it's, like you said, it's a beautiful night, so I don't want to keep
Oh.
here forever. But comprehensive plan was just approved. I think it's going to go on through that process.
Mhm.
What are you, just real quick, most excited about with the comprehensive plan and most concerned about with kind of what are we looking at in the future for the town?
Do you want to talk comprehensive plan? You have less than 5 minutes.
I was gonna say that's can be very complicated, but we do have a comprehensive plan. It's been updated. Probably the biggest thing that changed was the transfer of development rights. We do not know how that's going to fly, or if there's a market for this, but it's at least in the comprehensive plan. And then it's still trying to have the rural character, which is going to be fun to describe, and I'm going to be, or define, and I'm going to be very interested to see what the visioning process is. No matter what happens tonight, we hope that you're going to be participating deeply in the visioning process, which is probably going to be affecting the comprehensive plan. It may or may not amend the comprehensive plan, which has just been passed.
I will add on, like, the comprehensive plan had like a date of 10 years and we were past it. So the vision planning and the comprehensive plan timing were not aligning so great. So that's why I think that it seems like we are gonna have to possibly relook at the vision or at the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always a work, it should be a work in progress, even though it's got a 10-year timeline on it.
I was gonna say, I was just happy that we got one signed, sealed and delivered, the plan, like, updated and done. That was a milestone for me.
Yes,
I think that was a good thing.
it took us a while. And through the COVID.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
appreciate your time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, then, okay, so still
I did see.
Steve. All right, so, in an attempt to accommodate Steve's situation, we're going to try to set, at the next board meeting, we'll try to set a date for the discussion and then voting on the vacancy.
But not at the next meeting? Not at the 14th?
No, not voting at the 14th, probably not. But I don't. I guess if he,
You just have to wait to see what
I
Steve's.
don't know
schedule
at
is
this point. I mean, if he's available and reliably available for that evening, then I think we could probably do it on the 14th. That might make for a long meeting. I don't know. I know we have a presentation from the Metro Grow people, and I don't remember how many items are on the agenda already, but maybe let's say we'll see what Steve's situation is. If we can do it on the 14th, let's try to do it on the 14th. If the agenda is crazy long, then maybe we set a date for shortly after the 14th.
After the 14th, or we got 2 weeks till then?
True, I was just sort of expecting that it's gonna be, that he wouldn't be available, but I don't know. Well, it really hinges on his availability.
Okay, I guess I'd be flexible for realizing that this is important to be filling this position
Absolutely.
as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I'm not to say that it's not important or that we shouldn't fill it as soon as possible. I just do want to accommodate
Mm,
Steve. We could, I guess, technically do it, the three of us, four could do it, but I'd rather not do it that way. I'd rather have him
Yep.
in
I think that
attendance
would
too.
be,
So let's say as soon as
Yeah.
possible, pending Steve's availability.
Okay.
And I also want to say, I think I agree with Arlen, I think it's important to get the person up and running.
Mhm.
And there's a certain amount of varying for different candidates, I would think, but a learning curve to get all up to speed
Right.
and get your email address and all that stuff straightened out. So you
Right.
can hit the ground running, as
Yeah.
they say.
I would,
Yeah.
I mean, in worst case, I would anticipate that if Steve's not available until either the 14th or slightly after, whatever, that we would still be able to vote well before the end of May.
Mhm.
Mid-month, but maybe it's shortly after the meeting. If we can do it before, then that's great. But like I said, I just don't know.
It's
I don't know what the timing is.
really
gonna be
depending
exactly.
on what's going on with Steve.
June 11th would be the next board meeting after, so that I would say you maybe want to have someone by June 11th. By the next board meeting.
Oh, I would
Yeah,
think for sure,
yeah,
yeah.
okay,
I would like. to
Yeah, yeah.
Wait before that.
okay, well, so
So that's a little bit of item 5 on the agenda. Arlen, did you have more comments about that? As soon as, I mean, really, all I can say is as soon as possible.
I think it's as soon as possible. We don't know, I don't know Steve's situation or his availability, or let's get that. I think it'd be very important for him to be here unless he fully pulls out of the process.
Right, and I don't think
He
think
did
that's
not
been
know,
part of the
he
discussion
did
at all.
not know, yeah.
yeah, I think he will,
Right.
Unless something changes between when I talked to him yesterday, that was not his intention.
Right, but if,
I hear you.
yep,
yeah.
we don't,
There's some unknowns.
there's always unknowns, so let's,
We need to play out a little bit
Yes.
here, see where we are. So we will do that as soon as possible. That's item 5. Item 6 and 7, we also talked about on Monday. We don't need to talk about, there's nothing, well, there's some slightly new information about the summer mower, but we don't have any kind of feedback from Abel or Ryan yet.
Did you guys get that information from the attorney?
I just got it and I didn't have time this afternoon.
That's okay, that's okay. There's some limitations on what kind of work and what kind of equipment miners can operate
Mhm.
as employees. And so there are certain things that Caden could not do.
Okay,
And
so
part of what we discussed
is
is
this,
that he may not be.
do you feel that this may eliminate him as a possible employee?
Not necessarily, but he may need to team up with somebody else for moving a mower to a park. So there's some logistics issues there. I don't know, that's part of what I think you were gonna try to talk to me about Ryan.
Ryan wasn't in today, Abel was, and so I think it's just talking to them too, that logistics
Yep.
is gonna work.
And we did talk about, was it Monday we talked about this? I don't know, but there are a couple other people who are possibilities for summer employment. And maybe Caden and the other person team up and do things as a duo. I mean, that would be
Possibility.
a possibility too.
Yeah.
So it's
Really,
really,
that'll be discussed at the May
I
meeting.
think it's not for May.
Yeah, so hopefully I was talking to Carl, hopefully we could get together with Ryan and Abel at some point to talk about what they think they could do logistically.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
what
we'll-
would work with their schedule.
So another thing that needs to play out a little bit. And then, number 7 we'll pick that up at the board meeting. Anything else for tonight? Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap it up. No. All right, without objection, then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you guys, sorry. So I'll let you both know when I know. like,
Will Steve be able to see what we?
That's exactly what he's gonna do. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I just